solar system works. Come on up.
And basically what we'll be demonstrating, because like you said, it's really hard to show you from back there what's going on, right? So what I'd like to show you is we do have the battery monitoring system. And we'll do a little line, if that's okay. We'll loop around, kind of show everybody, so that everybody gets crowded around and that's, I really want to show you guys, actually charging. But let's give you a description for everybody in advance, so I don't have to repeat myself 900 times for each individual person. What I'd like to show you is, right now, this is what basically a 20-amp load I can put on as a system. And that's going to represent, for example, if you had like 19 TVs running or something like that, you can see the actual current coming in and out of battery that's being monitored through the external current shunt here. I'll also show you how you see the different charge modes on the controller. And in fact, we also have Bluetooth. Woo! Blue Sky's got Bluetooth finally. Long time coming. This will be for sale in about 2 months. We're just wrapping up some of our injection molding. This is our little Bluetooth device. Our Bluetooth IPM Connect is what we're going to call it. And that just connects to any Blue Sky charge controller. And then you can look on your phone. On your phone, not only does it provide, all the information, but it also data logs. Initially, internally, it'll data log 30 days of data, looking at all your settings and all your voltages and your state of charge and your currents every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day. And then if you want to expand that, you can pop in a little SD card, like a camera card, and then you can get years and years of data. But that's nice because it also can graph it out for you, so you can look at your history, 1 week, 1 day, 1 year, whatever. So if you guys are wondering, like, well, how low do my batteries get on average? What's my state of charge on average? You guys can look at that data automatically whenever you want and just pull it up and it's on your phone. You can also see like how much power the panel's producing, in real time on the wattage. So basically what I'd like to show you is I'd like to show you in operation, the net current going in and out of your battery, just so you guys can see that. And just to briefly explain the charge stages. I already talked about the charge stages before.
Will you give it notification?
No, it doesn't have notification features on it. No.
Yeah, if you battery go to zero or if you.
No, it'll log it for you. You can see like, man, this morning at 9 a.m. my batteries were down to 11.5 volts. You can see that. Or at midnight, okay, who used all this power at 3 p.m., that kind of thing. Oh, out of the microwave. So it logs all that data for you. I talked earlier about the stages of charging, absorption voltage down to float voltage, right? So your 3 stages, just as a reminder, your controller is going to be in bulk mode, and then it achieves the absorption voltage. And because I have a current shunt installed, it would base that transition down to the float voltage on the net current reaching the battery. So I just want to real quick point out on the controller, for example, the 3000i, how the display works, so you guys can see real quick. Hey, that's your battery voltage, that's your controller's output current, and maybe a little on the app. But I won't go to everybody, but because it's like so crowded, it might be a little easier for everybody just to come by and see one at a time as we come around. I'm not going anywhere, Seth's not going anywhere, we're not running away, so I want everybody to be able to have a look at it. So if they have any questions, you're happy to help. I do apologize, I did kind of run out of data sheets. I have some more cards and stuff like that. I don't want anybody to feel like they can't get in touch with Steph or I because lack of things. This whole week has been a very data sheet hungry crowd. I came with like 2 boxes and now I'm down to like 2. But I do have extra, I can bring out more business cards from my car. So I'll just make sure if anybody has questions. I do product support for a living. So all day, every day, people call me and ask me questions. That's what I do. That's what I'm paid to do. And I love my job because I make everybody happy. So don't think even after the show or later in life or next week, if you have a question, that you're going to be inconveniencing me or Seth if you have any questions, because we're always happy to help. So I'm going to turn the mic off, and I just want to show you guys individually, what's going on here, because I think you might find it interesting. Yeah.
You said there's 3 stages. You said bulk mode and what else?
It goes from bulk mode. That's where you're trying to raise the battery voltage. You give everything you got. You give them 100% of your output, trying to bring the voltage up based on available input, right? Just like when you turn on your car, initially your car alternator is going to try to raise your battery voltage to 14.4. That's bulk mode, constant current. The first stage is absorption. Some people used to call it acceptance. Nowadays it's called absorption. So you might have a controller. So you might have that's in the stages. Bulk mode, raising the battery's voltage. First stage, absorption or acceptance, interchangeable terms. Right? And after that wraps up your charge. That's like the last 20% of your charge on a lead acid battery. After your absorption phase is complete, you drop down to the float mode, float stage. And that's where you basically maintain your battery forever. For example, if you put your motorcycle in the garage for the winter, and you put that little 1 amp trickle charger on it, That's gonna be floating your battery. That's gonna give you a float charge, a trickle charge, just to keep that battery from the monthly self-discharge of your battery. That's a whole other, it's where I could keep on talking and try to blow guys' heads up. But lead acid batteries self-discharge at about 12% a month. The flooded batteries do. Your AGM, your sealed batteries, they discharge about 2 or 3% a month, and your lithium batteries pretty much don't discharge at all. We're talking like 1%, 2% a year. They just don't discharge. They don't have any monthly self-discharge. But that's one of the reasons why it's important to have solar on your rig, is because not just, because if you have a lead acid battery and you let it sit for 3 months with nothing connected to it, it's gonna discharge, that sulfation is gonna grow in your plates, and that's that coral reef, and that coral reef is gonna get hard, and next thing you know, you gotta try to charge your batteries again, they're really, really resistant. Also, all rigs, not so much cars as much as like campers, always seem to have parasitic draws. Maybe your carbon monoxide sensor, it could be your, I've actually heard the leveling pumps can draw a lot of power, your radio receiver. But another good thing about having a little bit of solar, it doesn't have to be a huge system, but it's another nice thing about having a little bit of solar on your rig, is it's always gonna keep your batteries in that tip-top condition. Most of our controllers also can maintain your starting battery independent of your main battery bank. So it can provide up to 2 amps your starting battery. That way when you're sitting there in storage mode, you're also keeping that monthly self-discharge appropriate for your starting battery. So when you start the car, whoa, I'm running. But I don't want to get too much into I can talk solar and solar and solar, and I love to talk about it. But we just want to show you real quick. If you have extra time, I'll jump back in here and I'll try to confuse you guys some more. I'm really good at it apparently. So I just want to show you.
All right, so I got a surprise. There is a location somewhere here that is going to win somebody this, oh my gosh, hold on, it does a lot of stuff. Soon Live emergency solar radio. It's a flashlight, it'll charge stuff, it's crank powered, it's got weather, AM, FM, it's got a solar panel, it's got an SOS alarm, it does a lot of stuff. So, we're gonna have you guys come up one at a time. If you want to check out any of the solar components, we have a fully working setup here. And I also have all of the various components that you're gonna need to install a solar system on a rig over here. So if you wanna touch it, if you wanna ask questions about it, if you just wanna see what it looks like so you can choose the right thing on Amazon, come on up. And I'm gonna say the line starts there at that cone. And you're totally disqualified if you invite. Push back. Come on up.
Can you briefly explain the three at the bottom down there?
Controller question or other stuff? You got a controller question. Just want to see our like a quick demonstration? Ryan, you want to give a quick demonstration here? You want to give a quick demonstration of how this stuff works here? Kind of what's going on this board?
No. So, so if you look right here, right now you're looking at the panel right now. You can see how much power is produced, right? So this is just this is our Bluetooth app. But right now you're looking at our controller. You notice the battery voltage is 13.3 volts, and that's kind of alternating between the battery voltage and the controller's output current. So. Right, so it's like 13.3, 0.4 amps out. 13.3, 0.4 amps out, right? Now on the 3009, if both the absorption and the float light are illuminated, that means you're in bulk mode. You're providing constant current, you're trying to raise the battery voltage. Of course, you can also look at the app, and it says bulk, and your battery voltage. See what it says? It says bulk mode and battery voltage. I don't want to go too deep, but the app is actually pretty in depth. So it's going to be difficult. Like you can go to different screens. It'll tell you tabular data of all your, battery voltage, input current, output voltage, but also graph it for you and do everything like that. That's basically now if I put on a load on the system right now, if you notice, now I just turned on 20 amps of load. And if you notice, this is our IFPS program mode display. The net current coming out of the battery right now is minus 21 amps. Okay, so it's seeing the power just being pulled on that resistive element, seeing that power coming through the shunt, and so it's dragging it from the battery to the shunt in the resistor. And also, obviously, if you look on your nice little Bluetooth app, minus 25 amps. Woohoo, you know?
I don't find any of
The
this.
state of charge information just won't be available for this demonstration because in order to tell the state of charge of your batteries, the controller first has to have the battery get in the float mode. It's gotta be full. Basically, it can't tell you how to charge your battery, you can't tell you how much water is in the bucket until it fill the bucket all the way, and then it can count the water in and out of the bucket, right? And so I don't have like percentage full yet because at this time in this, my battery, we just haven't had a chance for my battery to get fully charged. But you can see, turning off the load. Now you'll notice that the amount of current coming in and out of my battery, goes back to positive because we're actually charging. And if we step away from the panel, we're doing 16 watts. If I angle this panel, it's going to get a little bit better. Angling the panel makes a huge difference. And that's one thing that's nice with the app is you can drive around, and when you find a place to park, you're like, perfect. If I lean this way, if you lean that way, because you can adjust the angle of your panels and find just in real time how much wattage your panel's putting out. This is one of the nice things to do.
Is that app available now?
It'll be for sale before summer. We're just wrapping up. This is just a 3D printed enclosure for it. So it's up and it's running. We had a couple bugs. So maybe it's gonna be mid-March, maybe April. It's just like almost done.
Maybe it'd
Definitely
be
before
done
June.
by Earth Day. That'd be cool.
It won't be very expensive, probably about $50, $60, and then
Just for your system?
it's just for
or
our system,
So
correct.
what components do you need? Any more than the
All you-
3000i?
All you need, you would get a okay. So 3000i is a standalone charge controller. That's going to tell you your battery voltage. Everything's programmable. It's got all the features, right? Now, if you plug in the Bluetooth device, this RG11 plug, the back of the 3000i, it'll work just fine. Now, if you had a 3000i or any of our charge controllers, in addition to the Pro remote with the external shunt, you're going to get more features because now we have that extra data from the current shunt. So you can get the state of charge information, the net current going in and out of your battery bank. So yes, it works fine with the 3000i. It'll still data log and all that, but you're just going to have additional data if you have the external current shunt with the IPN Pro remote display. We are coming out with another display. I won't talk too much about that. But we also have a touchscreen coming out in midsummer as well. And that'll also work in place of the IPN Pro if you want. You could connect a shunt to it and you get all the data. I'm not sure if we're going to have Bluetooth integrated into it, but we're working on that now. Because any new product we roll out, we don't want to have you to add Bluetooth to it. All the new products will have Bluetooth integrated into them. So it's the long story short, on the charge controller, you can see the charge mode. The controller itself, this will tell you the 3000i standalone. It'll tell you your battery voltage, your controller's output current, your solar panel input current. And that's just kind of like, it's nice to know, but it really doesn't matter. I mentioned before, you're coming in at like 18 volts, and you're coming out at like 12.5 volts. So you're going to find your input current is always a little less than your output. So we're an MPPT controller, we're bucking down the energy production. You can also go through here and look if you had your starting battery attached to it. Like I mentioned, it has a tune-up auxiliary battery maintainer. It will tell you your starting battery voltage. And it also keeps count of the number of amp hours it's charged, kind of like an odometer. So you can clear it out. So for example, you can clear it at night. The next day you look at it, you're like, oh, my controller charged 30 amp hours today or 50 amp hours today. So that's just a nice piece of information. And that's just all available on the controller standalone. All the voltage and everything are very programmable. There's a video on our website on how to push all the buttons and make everything happen. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to program it. Of course, if you had the app, you can just go in here and do it as well. And it's a little, it's like we're talking about maybe having a revert button. We have a restore factory defaults, but you might need a revert button. Like I changed the settings, and But you guys can feel free, like if you want to come, you can look at the, if you guys are curious. I know that the shading was a little bit of an issue, but you can walk by and come and have a look. And if you want to flip the switch, you're welcome to. Like right here, on your battery voltage screen, that's showing the net current going in and out. So, you flip the switch and you can see the current being drawn. You could also look on the phone. It's like you're drawing amps from the phone. And this is because you can see the wattage from the panel. You put your foot in it, not in it, foot in it, not in it, and that kind of thing. This is a 100 watt HQST panel. I just got this on Amazon, about the lot. It's pretty HQST. They make pretty good stuff. It was less than $100 Amazon Prime. I do like Amazon in particular when ordering panels because shipping's free. You'll find when you try to order panels, that Grape Solar is really good for that too, because you can order Home Depot online, and then they'll have free delivery to any store. And so it's really nice because you can now, you know what I mean, you don't pay for shipping. And shipping a solar panel can sometimes be as expensive as the panel itself. So any solution, because it, was it? No. 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 Yeah, go ahead and walk by, have a look at it. I love that you pointed out to you. So this is.
All right, how's it all connected? So you gotta sing it with me now. The solar panel's connected to the charge control. The charge control's connected to the battery. The battery's connected to the inverter, and now your phone gets charged.
Talent show.
There's no inverter on this one, but this is it.
In this one, you've got the shunt between the battery and the.
Well, listen, babe.
Yeah, sure.
So you don't need a shunt, but the shunt gives all the current is flowing through that shunt.
Right, so
Which
for,
gives you a convenient transport when say
right, so it allows you to information. It allows you to give you state of charge information based on current instead of voltage.
Right.
And it also allows the controller, if you have a lead acid battery, to basically transition from absorption to flow on the net current reaching the battery. So if your batteries are fully charged, the controller wakes up, comes to absorption, off charge, goes down to flow.
And now I just gotta find a way.
It's not maintaining a higher voltage unnecessary long. Or if you know, or you're in absorption mode and you have a lot of loads going on, you might need to hold that voltage longer until your batteries are actually fully charged. So the amount of power to maintain that voltage becomes redundant.
Now the shunt doesn't do that automatically, it's the controller.
Oh yeah, if you use the information from the shunt to increase the effectiveness of its charge profile.
Okay.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
I think your buddy there recommended electric.
Yeah, our IPN Pro remote does the same thing as the Trimetric, but it works a little better because now our controller, the Pro remote is. I'll give you. Yeah, I'll grab it.
Yeah, so you follow one, right?
So that's the Pro remote data. So that I'd rather use this because the Trimetric can give you state of charge information, and so will this. But this will also allow your controller
batteries.
to transition
So it's actually
absorption
bringing
down to flow based on current. So it increases the information our controller has to work with, improving your charge. To work together.
The panel right now is not putting out anything.
I can give a coupon code for 10% off. 10 off is great. So 10OFFISGRE. 10 off is great.
Say it again?
10 off is great. I'll say it for everyone with a microphone. But just 10 off is great. All lowercase, no spaces.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, for the shunt cord, I assume that's only for the battery monitor system?
Right, that's what the IPN Pro remote.
Okay, so
It's not gonna be able to raise it up
I have a Victron that I.
Okay.
So from the video I remember seeing,
That's just a.
there's a little tiny lead that goes into one side of it that goes to the positive, and all the negatives go on the other side of it. But all those negatives are, giant wires to those.
What you do is you get a terminal block or a bus bar. So you like Blue Sea makes a really nice sport stud or a bus bar. So if you have if you should ask me when installing a shunt, if I got a bunch of things in all my negatives and all my batteries, how do I stack that up on the shunt? And the question is you don't. What you do is you get a terminal block or a bus bar, and you combine all these different things on this one piece of metal, and then that touches the shunt touches the battery. So you really don't want to have more than one or two things stacked on top of each other, because you can have contact issues.
Okay, so they all go to this bus bar, and then one lead from the bus bar goes to the
Shunt
shunt,
and the shunt to the battery.
and then there's one lead from the shunt that goes to one battery
And the batteries will then combine together, yeah.
that somehow is connected to all the other batteries
Right,
that are.
yeah. Series parallel combination depends on if you have 6 volt, 12 volt, that kind of thing. You know?
What's your feeling on the battery? The capacity of the panel to the battery, proper sizing, is there sizing?
I mean, I always joke there's two types of people, right? Those that ask if they have enough solar, and those that brag about being a float mode by 11 a.m.
Okay.
I mean, you really can't have too much. The more renewable power you have, the more solar you have.
Is there such thing as having two views?
Yeah, because if you can't, because you're cycling your battery down low. If you wake up and your battery's at 12 volts,
Right.
I mean, that's a combination. It depends. That could be either you don't have enough batteries, and if your batteries are fully charged.
This is a really great question I got here, so I'm gonna repeat it. Do I have to use MC4 connectors? No. No, you don't. And as a matter of fact, I don't recommend them because they're only 10 gauge wire, which if you look up wire sizes is severely underrated if you have 400, 500, 600 watts of panels. And also, 2-3 years down the line, this plastic is not going to hold up. So it makes them easy. I don't bash them a lot. They work well for what they are, but this is the kiddie mode of connections. Go ahead and get yourself some butt crimp connectors.
And a good pair of
Connect them the right way.
And a good pair of crimpers.
And a good pair of crimpers. Which, if any of you want to see a good pair of crimpers, I have them.
Ooh,
Don't use the ones in the
crimples.
back of your wire strip.
Open it up. Let's see them. Ooh.
It's actually not a good pair, but it's better than the Walmart.
Good enough.
Ooh, crimples.
What is a butt connector? Just do,
I should have.
just do butt
You know
connections?
what?
But if you want
You-
interchangeability and flexibility.
Butt connector is just going to be a little tube that you can connect both wires together and you crimp
Yeah,
on one
yeah.
side and you crimp on the other.
See, this takes a heavy duty crimper to make that
Yes,
crimp.
that's what he crimped it with that.
Okay, because I used to have one that was,
Yes,
you
that,
could hammer.
I had one of those and they don't make it maybe or as reliable as those.
You can get a lot of this stuff at marine stores, you know, they're all used to this type of stuff.
And these are fuses?
Butts and rings.
Paraffin,
That's
okay.
what you really want to connect your solar.
What if you want quick disconnects, you know, for possibly an
If I was-
external panel or something like that?
So I have a portable on mine and I use MC4s.
Okay.
They're pretty good for that. Boats, I forget what they're called. Boats have a couple good connectors for that too,
Okay.
but
Amphenol with their power bus or power cord
Yeah.
or something like that?
yeah, there's all sorts of quick
I
connects.
know,
None
I
of them
can't
work
figure
really
out
well.
which one to go with.
None of them work really well though.
And this is
I
an
mean,
inverter.
MC4, if you really need to disconnect it, like in a portable panel situation, I would
Just get the plastic tool and,
Yeah, speaking of, I got
I
that
think I have
too.
the same Chinese kit right there.
If you do work with MC4s,
That's what I have.
do yourself a favor and get one of these.
and see that crimper?
This tool will save you so much frustration trying to do it with a pair of pliers, and then you'll mess up the connection, and you turn a 200 watt solar panel into a 60 watt panel. This is a MC4 toolkit is what you would search for.
can buy it on
This is a
Amazon.
crimping tool specifically for MC4.
Lots of
Yeah.
for about $20. I mean, they're not that
20 bucks.
expensive.
No.
You know? And
And-
they give you all these MC4s and the proper tools to disconnect and the crimpers.
And it'll take you 3 seconds with that versus 10 minutes and a lot of swears with the pair of pliers.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I generally don't recommend them unless you have to.
I understand.
Oh,
And
so-
I-
And if you find a better connector, please let me know.
I just find it
And just
obnoxious having to have that
6
tool.
inches of extra wire
Yes.
allows you to cut and reconnect several times. So
That's
you can
a,
use a
uh,
butt connector.
That's a really great point too. So when you're installing a solar system, what they don't tell you a lot is what a service loop is called. Electricians know this. When you're wiring it in on your panels, on your charge controller and other things, give yourself a loop, not necessarily that big, maybe that big, tape it up, and the next person that works on it will love you to death. Because if you have to go change something in that system or you want to move your charge controller 3 inches, you don't want to cut a continuous section of wire and resplice it. Every time you do that, you're losing energy. So if you just leave yourself what is called a service loop, it'll always be there, it doesn't take up any space, always give yourself the 6 inches.
Rule of thumb, how many days, what days do you usually go with?
I use Blue Sea's wire chart because
Blue Sea's wire chart.
a lot of people are like, we go with the biggest wire size. So this would be like if you wanted maybe 300-400 watts of solar, this would be for a battery. If you're wiring your solars in with this, it makes me want to beat you over the head with it because it's just a waste of copper.
Yeah.
Now, Blue Sea has a great wiring chart on it,
They
and
tell
what I
you
recommend,
losses per foot and all that type of
yeah,
stuff.
the loss per foot, and you want to go with their 10% efficiency chart. They have 10% and 30%. Solar would be considered a critical voltage drop loss. So you want to stay within 10%. Now, the other thing to think about when you wire, especially if you have an RV or a bigger vehicle, you want to wire either to your controller size or your roof size. In other words, so if I'm sticking a 100-watt panel on my roof, yeah, I can get away with 10 gauge wire, but guess who's going to be rewiring their system when they get the next 100-watt panel? Don't be that guy. get some 8 gauge or get some 6 gauge wire, throw it in there. The cost difference is negligible. And then when you add that panel, you just put a splitter on there and you plug it right in. So always, if you have a big vehicle, wire to the roof size. Figure out how much wattage you potentially could get on there and run your wires to that size. And also with the footage, because the footage matters too. If you have a smaller vehicle, wire to your controller size. So your controller would be a 10 amp or a 20 amp or a 30 amp or a 40 amp. Wire for 40 amps. Don't just wire for the control for the solar panel. So then, if you do want to add something on someday, you won't be screwed. You won't have to do it.
Almost like a dual layer or something like that. Is there a purpose to that?
There's a good one too. But I got 2, and I'll totally answer that one. That's a good
But that's not
wire
from your
quality.
line.
I don't know
I
what
work
happened.
with a lot of welding cable.
Yeah.
And as far as
Yeah, see the line disappeared.
Between you and I, they work, but also when I work solar professionally, there is no insurance company in the country that will cover that. The only acceptable crimp at a professional level is a hydraulic or mechanical crimp.
Okay.
That's it.
consider a hammer, you know what I'm talking about?
He's saying
Yeah,
the insurance
but
is a little thing that
I
did it
think
not
you
together.
might be able to argue it, but I'll tell you, if you went and talked to Craig, he has one of those setups as a joke. So I wouldn't, if you really know how to do it, you know, if we're talking and you really know how to do it, you can do it, but I wouldn't tell one of these guys to go out and get one of those things. Because really, you'll spend just as much on one of those as you will on a hydraulic set of crimps. Yeah, it's $20 on Amazon right now. Yeah, they're cheap. So,
It's a hydraulic.
yeah, it's a cheapo hydraulic crimping set. It'll do everything from 10 gauge up to 2 aught. It has that's all you need to do a whole solar system. And that'll proper crimps.
But it wasn't installed by.
This is what a proper wire should look like.
Okay, it'll go up to
Heat
what?
trained, mechanically crimped. I should be able to take this and hook it to the back of my Jeep and tug on it. It shouldn't come on. What?
4-aught cable? I mean, how big is it?
4-aught would be really excessive. So most of the times I would recommend 2-aught
Okay.
is a really safe size to stay with because a lot of people go up to like 2, 3, 5,000 watt inverters. That'll have you covered.
Okay.
4-aught,
You're,
I mean, unless you're running a welder.
Well, I am.
Oh, well, there you go. Get your 4-aught, man. By all means.
Okay.
That's why I keep a couple of those lugs. I want to do the wire sizes, or wire, before I got it. So, I don't have a crappy piece of wire with me, but good solar wire, also known as welding cable a lot of times, will be triple insulated. And you can't see it in here because I actually pulled the paper out so you can't see it anymore. But there's paper on the inside, and then it's got an EMF layer on the outside of that, which is this little black layer. It protects against interference. And then it's got a rubberized coating in there. You could throw this in a fire and it would take 2 or 3 minutes to fully burn up. So if you guys want to pass that around, while you're looking at wire, not all wire is created equally. You should be able to bend it. It should have multiple layers of insulation.
When you only use that gauge for strapping between batteries or something like that, right?
Yeah, this would be like a battery interconnect.
Okay.
For going parallel or series. And you have a question?
Yes, just the basic. You're talking fuses
Yeah.
before the controller or after the controller?
Every wire that connects to the battery should be fused within 12 to 24 inches.
Okay.
Of the
So
battery.
anything
Of the battery.
of the battery. Yeah, you fuse for the battery, not for appliances.
Okay.
When we're talking about fuses, a better way to think about it is you're not protecting your cartridge controller, you're protecting the wire itself.
Okay.
So you fuse for wire size.
Okay. Thank you. Resettable fuses.
Sure. Yeah, I got one of those right here. So this would be for like an inverter, because sometimes those can pop a lot of fuses. So I usually recommend fuses are really, really good for like solar or for like a DC outlet or like a fuse block, whatever. For an inverter, it's not a bad idea to have an actual circuit breaker. These guys will run you like 60 bucks. But if you ever trip your inverter, like you drop a hammer on it, I've never done that, and short it out in the back, then this will save your ass.
But every time it trips, it's, degenerates in a slight bit, you know?
Slight.
Circuit breakers are only used so many, you know, have a
Yeah,
light.
but a T-fuse is like $20, so that's energy. Questions? We had a line, but
Yeah, they're lying.
Oh,
These
okay.
people out here
It was
waiting for questions.
It was total disorder.
Yeah, but they've been waiting patiently over there for questions.
I don't want to do my own. I learned from the last one. I don't want to do my own. But,
Yeah, the question.
I'm looking to get it so all of us can listen to it.
Yeah, it looks like this. Well, maybe they're not interested as a possibility.
Or maybe they're mad.
Maybe they're mad.
Because everybody stood up in
What
front of me.
size, since you guys are here, what size?
somebody might have pulled it out and sold it.
Anybody want help with the solar? I might buy
He said
buying
go
some of the
to
stuff.
Blue
the
Sky
solar
for,
systems.
we'll have to ask him again what the name of that website is. But it gives you the calculation.
Well, one guy from Blue Sky, another guy is like an more independent guy.
What's that?
Cool. I'll be around. I'll be hanging out. Probably be here tonight.
So what's the name of your
it's close
company?
to the battery.
Hey, do you have an association with a company or your own thing probably? It sounds- you have
I
your
would
own
probably
like
choose
solar
both.
company
Your
independent
starter
or
battery
how's
is
it?
I'm just
used,
freelancing,
by your
so-
car
Yeah, you're
and
independent freelancer.
the house
So by
battery
that,
is
this is
close
that.
to, I think it's
Everybody,
12 to 18 inches.
you can call him
If
and
you ever notice an appliance, and if it has a resettable
This is
circuit
2i.
breaker,
You
it's
can
always
see the
at
number
where
on
that immediately enters the chassis. You know, so what you want to do
This would, or
is
series,
if there's
whichever
any
way you want to
short
do
in
it.
that wire in any place, that the fuse will trip and protect the battery. Well, actually, will stop the wire from overheating, which can torch your trailer. You know, burn up your trailer.
My trailer is a park line, it's a short one. My batteries are outside on the hitch.
Yeah.
And my
thanks
panel
for
is in
the
the back.
live stream
Okay.
and updates.
Okay, well, you have a run right there. So you have to do the calculations off of this one chart that he uses.
Negative to negative, positive to
And
But
keep
it
it
doesn't have,
within,
it
keep it within
doesn't have
10%.
a, inverter because the 3 prongs only work when
That's
it's
the
plugged
best way
in.
That the things that they need, and then it goes in the other case, and then you slide it through and bolt it up.
It shows one. Same thing shows one.
Is this your fusible right here?
That is an ANL fuse. That's a bullet style ANL fuse. This is a box style ANL fuse. They're the same
So
thing.
many of them, okay.
Same thing, slightly different.
Harsher weather conditions or something like that?
Yeah, that's waterproof. Usually these are easier to fit in places.
Really, than this?
Yeah, this can be weird with where it needs to go. Well, because that thing just pops off super easy and you can only go out.
So you're saying you only need one of them?
Yeah, they'd be.
And
right
so
on.
that's like, yeah, that's just probably a little bit more heavy duty too.
It feels more heavy duty. Feels solid. And I also like how they use an Allen wrench to tighten it up. You see it right here?
One thing about this is that it does it. So yeah, basically you put the copper in here and then tighten it down. But
Right.
this you use these connectors
Yeah.
and tighten it down.
Yeah. This one you just put the
Copper in there.
copper in there, and then this Allen screw, you just screw it down until it smashes into the copper, and then
Yeah.
it gives you your connection.
And
And
then
here's the seal that he was talking about to keep the water out of going in there.
Yeah.
So this is double O-ringed also. This is a marine grade type box right here. You can
Yeah.
find a lot of this stuff at like West Marine or any saltwater or heavy duty boating. They all have. They all
this
deal with
this one you put the O-wings on and then.
I like this. It's install gear.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? You could actually proudly display it, huh? You know?
there you go.
The nice wires coming out of it. You know? I plan on having everything exposed. You know.
What was that?
That was a fuse link. So he was saying that this one's better than
Charge controller.
the
In between
other
there.
one. They're both the same thing. See, that's the fuse right there.
You're gonna need one of these.
And,
Lots of fuse. Yep.
but
This is also a
this
fuse.
one
There's
has-
many different kinds of fuses.
These you're really supposed to crimp a lug on and put it on there
They
and
have a
tighten it
wonderful
down.
fuse cover.
This one
And
takes
here's another fuse.
See that?
So,
Just, you just jam
controller,
it in there.
fuse, battery.
It's double
And then
O-rings.
after the battery,
And then to crimp onto the wire, it's just a nice Allen screw. This is precision right here.
this one's 20 bucks actually.
That's very nice.
Right now. Yeah. Inverters are something I would say you can definitely cheap out on and get away with.
Sorry.
Are you serious?
Walmart actually
That-
makes a
that's
great
the
one.
clip
Walmart
too.
EverStart
Oh,
inverters
yeah.
last and last and last. I've had one for 5 years.
We're digging through your box.
This guy was selling me an inverter.
The yellow box over here on the left, that's a clipping tool? What is this?
What do you want to power?
Basic things like maybe hot things.
Do you want a refrigerator, Leah?
Yeah, I have that little one that it goes in the DC.
Yeah, those are
How many
usually-
watts is that?
Yeah.
But those are usually DCs. I would say something maybe a little bit bigger than that. That's 150 watt. But like literally, I would almost recommend the Walmart one. They have a 400 watt inverter for like 30 bucks with a 2-year warranty. Pretty good. No, as a matter of fact, if you got a bigger inverter, it would probably be less efficient. The overhead from the bigger inverters is a lot more.
All
Bigger
inverters
fans,
consume
bigger
power, and they also consume power.
Yep. All inverters consume power, and the bigger the inverter, the bigger the consumption. So yeah, just get yourself a $20.
It's better going as
Yeah,
much
just get a
12
cheap-
volt as you can. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and likewise, a lot of the stuff that you talked about is able to go off.
And then
So,
trade
like
it, and then all your internal lights on your car. Make sure you, if you're living in your vehicle, spend a lot of time not with your vehicle off. Take all the lights and get LED lights.
Everything's LED in your rig right now, right?
Yeah, well, no, I just have everything turned off.
One little incandescent bulb killed my battery the other day from my glove box. It had popped open,
Right.
and it drained it to its knees.
I just turned all of them off.
Yeah, LED is the only way to.
No, well, you want to have
only way
lights. You want to
go.
be able to see at night. So, you know.
Yeah, I just got those little ones that you pull up on it. They're portable.
Yeah, you want to make sure you have LED. Every LED lights
He
on
had
your
said something
friend.
about the MC4 connectors.
Depends.
What about
The
it?
best thing you could do is get
I have
LED
a
lights.
cable that I split, and now I
And
can't
only
get it to
use
work on
your
my suitcase.
LED lights.
Okay.
70 watts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really taking my.
Where the
that's
problem is?
because I still use
Right,
an
because if I
incandescent
connect
light,
it
but I only
directly
have
to the
one
battery,
incandescent
the
light.
solar
I don't
panel
use it that often, but
Okay.
It just doesn't work fine.
if you look for long term,
Yeah, you never.
you really want
never
to
should connect your
and the
solar panel
LED,
directly
they
to
even
the battery.
if you go to any of the
Yeah,
auto parts
okay.
stores, you can
So you
take
have
the
a controller
incandescent light
box on
out
the
and walk in there and
already.
say,
Is it
"Can
a
I get
Renogy or
the
something
LED
like that? I have the
version of
same
this?" And they
thing.
have LED
Okay,
I
version
have a Renogy.
and I, you know, it's a
of the
Renogy
incandescent
MC4
light
and a
bulb,
Renogy
so you
cable, and
just
it's a Renogy
pop it out,
solar
take it in there,
Yeah.
say,
So I don't know.
it's probably going to be
I
$20
hate the
for one light
MC4
bulb,
connectors. We were just talking
but that will
about
last
it.
you forever.
So, and I thought the 10 gauge was supposed to be good because
Well, and that's just it. I mean, if I had one.
That should be big enough for just that panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 watt panel,
Another thing I like is
200 watt.
Yeah,
Should be more.
and I
I
just
think it's enough.
turned them
You
all off.
might want
And
to
yeah,
run it past
turn them all off, but you need
Lot
one
lower price.
LED light bulb for it. When
But he
you
said
not,
that-
What'd you
you
say
don't want
about
to be
your
stuck in the
MC4
dark in the
though?
middle
It's
of the night.
broken or
You
it's
see
split?
it, and you carry,
I've had two
you
people
carry
tell me
your
that
rig
there's
because you don't
continuity
have.
through there, but yet I get a,
You know, and then you know you could get a solar panel this big, but depending on how much
On
thing
what?
you use,
On the solar
and how much you drive,
Okay.
like what I do, I don't even have
I
a
don't know
solar
what the BO1
panel.
is.
It's something
I
about
just
less
rely
than
on my
3 volts.
because I drive my rig every day.
Severe
And
voltage.
you're able to use
Yeah, but
your
when I'm
automated
running it directly
And
from
your
the
batteries,
battery,
but
it's 12.2.
it's always good to have an alternator. It's really good to have at least a small inverter, at least a small solar panel, because you know because what if you do leave your lights on and your things going all night, and then you kill your battery, and then you gotta get a jump, and then you gotta walk around with jumping cables for half a day.
If I go over to Plumosa, I want to say hi on the way through. What kind of road are you?
Do shore power, I can charge it off my alternator. My generator, and it'll give my car a jump.
Yeah. So it's always good to have a backup, a little bit more battery. But depending on what you do, you have a small refrigerator and lights, and your computer and your cell phone. So yeah, I mean depending on how often you run your rig, you might not even need a solar, but it's good to have a little bit, at least one little solar panel.
Well, and then eventually I want to have my sewing machine. It doesn't use a lot of power, but it's something I want to have.
But exactly. So maybe you should get at least one solar panel. Hook it with a charge control. It doesn't have to. You can buy a kit, and you can buy a kit off of Amazon with the charge control and everything. Yeah, and this is Happy Camper. You about ready to do?
Almost Happy Camper. I have stickers, but I left them in the truck. I'm getting ready to do 2 presentations.
Yeah.
The next one with Seth, and then me and Robin here. And then
I found a place in North Carolina.
Did you have a chance to meet Seth yet?
Seth is that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been talking with him I've been live streaming it all morning.
Okay, cool.
Have you ever scanned Candelaria?
Where?
Candelaria?
Not sure where that is. No, but I know Nevada's got some great gold
I did that kid in this up on the River.
Oh yeah. I've read the picture, but I didn't. I go to the Eastern Sierras almost every summer, and that's one of my favorite places. Next year when I go, I'm not going to do fish.
I mean,
how far up in the East?
I mean, Harbor Freight sell a kit for $150 for that is a solar kit.
Didn't mean to elbow you over here.
And you just hook it into your battery.
Well,
And a lot of people say that you should have connect. I mean, don't use your engine battery for everything else. But some people, I use my engine battery for everything because it's simple. Because the alternator ones, but then if you have other batteries, you want the batteries through directly lead through.
Like all those power stations.
But then you want to fuse each battery link. It's kind of complicated. So what I do is I mean,
that explains a lot more than what I was getting.
Well, did you say 84 Frontier?
Trojan's a little more expensive because of 18-month warranty.
So,
Interstate, different color, 12-month
all right, so please like, subscribe, and share. We're going to be a happy camper here in a little bit. If you didn't hear the conversation, he's actually a really good friend of mine. Happy camper. I'm trying to give you a shout out right now. Hey, this is Happy Camper.
Hey guys.
He's going to be next.
Jimmy, the almost happy camper.
And I'm probably going to be live streaming on your channel?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to be actually live streaming on his channel, Almost Happy Camper, his page.
Yep.
I'm working for him today. And
he's looking at me like, why are you almost happy?
No, I was reading your shirt.
Oh, I'm one of the administrators of Facebook's largest camping group. We have 98,000 members. Boondocking and Free Camping USA. Right. You got to properly but fair warning, it's an adult group. So you let people curse sometimes. That's more of a like. You're easily offended.
Not gonna hurt my feelings.
Yeah, most people are. Yeah.
Boondocking and camping.
Boondocking and Free Camping USA on Facebook.
Okay, so checking it out. Okay, I'm going to be live streaming on his Almost Happy Camper, so look it up. Right now, take the time to look at because, yeah. All right. Cool.
I gotta talk with him. We're getting ready. Our next.
All right, your next presentation start in 30 minutes. All right, so I see you back here in 30 minutes, everybody. Please like, subscribe, and share. Get somebody.
Some say it's in,